Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video I want to look at Muselk, Nadeshot and Courage's take on Warzone versus Fortnite. We all know that this guy is huge on Fortnite and then the two above are both huge on Call of Duty. I mean, in fairness, Courage is also huge on Fortnite too. Regardless though, I want to have a look at what these top content creators on the internet are talking about when it comes to Warzone versus Fortnite, as that is what the topic is titled.
No, I mean in regards to the support creator, but yeah, no, exactly about this. I mean, it's like it's two titans now battling each other because Warzone just announced they've had 75 million players, and Call of Duty is going to be the entire universe is going to be around Warzone for the future.
75 million
I
players
think,
is a
like,
lot.
Don't get me wrong. I love Warzone. I think that it is so fun.
Just really quickly though, to compare that to Fortnite, and I don't know what the concurrent is right now in terms of on a monthly active user basis, but I do know that Fortnite has, I think, roughly over 250 million registered accounts. Now, of course, that isn't how many people are playing, obviously very aware of that, but it's interesting to see these numbers.
I don't necessarily believe it has quite the depth of gameplay to keep people once you hit that, like, you know, you put thousands of hours into the game mark. I think Fortnite's a game where I still feel like I'm learning so much every day. I think just because of the building element. I think Warzone, you know, like I've spoken to a few of my my friends who are big like Warzone YouTubers and streamers, and I think even they're getting a little bit tired of it. That said though, I am so amazed with that game, man. I love Warzone to death. I'm really interested to see. But
I would actually play devil's advocate a little bit with you though, because the depth that Fortnite has, and you talk about learning every single day and trying to keep up with the meta and trying to keep up with these kids that build, you know, the city of.
Just to explain really quickly, because I know I haven't spoken in like a minute or so, I really want to hear what they're having to say, and then I'm going to analyze. But their points haven't really been made yet. Once their points are made, I'll talk about it. I'll give my own take.
New York, once you get shot at. I think that's what's turned away a lot of players. So the people that are in love with the game still, and people who have reached that level of play where they can keep up with almost anybody. I think that's why Warzone has become so attractive, right? Because Call of Duty, obviously we've had this competitive background. It's what I did for years, but Call of Duty has always been the game where people come home from work, have a couple drinks with their boys, or just hang out. They're in and out for like 2 or 3 hours. And that's been Activision's bread and butter. And that's why games have never been tailored towards competitive, because they know their demographic and their audience. So I can understand when you have creators that are spending 10 hours a day recording content or streaming and playing, and they're getting burnt out. Totally understand that. But the casual player, I think in Warzone, just like any battle royale, it keeps things fresh. You know, no engagement is the same. And I think with them trying to get a little bit more in sync with Fortnite strategy with the battle passes and the seasons, they're adding this train, they're adding new equipment, they're adding new weapons. And I think the big tell from what Jack just mentioned is them announcing that Warzone is going to be the centerpiece of their universe. Call of Duty hasn't left before.
That is a Fortnite play. Not that that's anything bad or wrong, but that is and I think in fairness, Nadeshot has kind of already said this in terms of the seasons, the battle passes. I mean, honestly, I haven't really been on Call of Duty loads this year. I typed in Call of Duty into the search bar to see what was going on, right? And the first thing that came up, or one of the first things that came up, was Season 5. Now, I haven't really been on Warzone really intensely since it came out. I've definitely been aware of it. I've played it. I have done stuff within it, but I haven't been every day on the grind with it. It was so interesting for me, someone who has been playing Call of Duty for years before Warzone even came out, to see a Season 5, because that has never once been anything like how Call of Duty has ever really formatted itself. It's always been, you know, a different studio, with Activision being the publisher, of course, but a different studio developing every year or something. And now we're seeing some sort of, it seems like a in perpetuity life cycle potentially for a Call of Duty IP. It's a very interesting way of seeing things.
I mean, Blackout was okay for what it was. That was the start for Call of Duty's. There's interest for a battle royale here.
That's fair.
They absolutely nailed Warzone. And that's where I'm happy and excited, because now that I know that Warzone is going to be around and it's going to be their biggest focus, I think to myself, dude, I've got a job for like the next 10 years. There's no problem with that. And so I understand what you're saying, but
And that right there, actually, we're going to go back onto it very quickly. As he said, for years to come or whatever, that's what I'm talking about in perpetuity. They have built now an IP that will stand over many years. Warzone at one point will be, it's not its own thing. It'll always be Call of Duty, I believe. But like I say, we haven't seen this before with Call of Duty ever before, where we have one thing that is constantly worked on for so many years afterwards. Normally at least a year, maybe you'll have some DLC. Very different with
Fortnite,
seasons.
You have Chapter 2, right? People really didn't enjoy it as much as people anticipated that they were. But with Call of Duty, you're going to get a new Warzone, reskinned, new environment, new era, new weapons, new everything every single year. And they've got 3 devs working on it. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. But I think just for that one specific point, the depth of it and learning and building, that's what makes me not play it anymore in any regard. Like in any capacity, I hate it because of how difficult it is. What made it fun has ruined the game for me because it's just too difficult.
No, 100%. I think you're right. I think that's Fortnite's biggest. It's almost like it's a strength, but also
it was a
weakness.
Is
that,
it's weird.
I can not play for a month, and I can jump back into it a month later, and I still know how to point and click at people in shooter games. I still understand the flow of a battle royale and like have decent game sense. I can play the game. I can do decently. I can have fun. Whereas Fortnite, holy crap, man! If you take your foot off the pedal for like
a week,
a month, 2 months, you come back.
For me, it's a week.
What the hell is going on? Like, number one, you're a bit slower, but also everyone's just progressed to this crazy level. I think the one thing I do really respect about Fortnite's like combat and fighting is, I would say almost always, with a few exceptions, if you get matched up against someone in a fight, whether or not that's just like a customs 1v1 or like in an actual game, I would say the vast majority of the time, I feel like if I lose a fight, I'm like, that guy was a better player. He definitely outplayed me there. Like, he edited better, he shot better, he aimed better, he built better. Like, if I 1v1 Fresh in Fortnite, and Fresh is trying, dude, he will beat me 99 out of 100 times, if not 100. I can't get an edge on the kid. Like, there's so many elements.
He's put so much time into it. He's grinded it like that. Yeah,
it's incredible.
He's a pro.
Like, sometimes in Warzone, I'm like, I know I could have played a situation better, but I can't always as easily understand why I lost an engagement beyond just like aim better. But I totally agree. I think you're right. I think it's the like, I think neither of them are like pros, or I think they both have pros and cons. I actually think is a better way to put it. I think you're right. I think Fortnite maintains a player base by having this constant feeling that you're improving, but by doing that, they're alienating people who don't keep playing the game every day. And then I think you're on the Warzone side, you're right, there is a lot there that you always feel like you're improving in. And oh my God, coming back to that game now, as opposed to the first month when it came out, people are cracked at that. But also at the same time, I don't feel alienated from the game if I don't play it for a little bit. Whereas that's the problem with Fortnite. You're right.
Yeah.
I think that's why they're trying so much with like everything that they're doing to.
And I think, sorry to cut Jack off there for a second, but it's not surprising the amount of money that Epic Games put into Fortnite's esports. It was gonna happen. The skill ceiling was going to happen with how intricate editing is and building is. It's just one layer, one massive layer. I would potentially argue as big as, if not bigger than, being able to aim, basically. That's one thing that people are constantly working on. And if you're not playing Fortnite, there is no way of really working on that skill, which means the people who are always working on it, the people who do want to make a living out of just prize earnings, are going to constantly be playing. And eventually, you're going to be not as good as the rest of the player base. And unfortunately, for casual players, that's exactly what has happened.
Party Royale, concerts going on, watch a movie in the game, LTMs, fun LTMs are back, new things here. So you can tell
for the casuals.
Yeah, like cars. It's like you can tell they're just trying to throw out things that like, it's like, hey, and like they literally had a LTM that was like no sweat mode or whatever, like literally where you can only build like 3 things. So
yeah,
you can tell Fortnite knows that, and they're kind of trying to here. Another game that had a big update today was Valorant, and they released their Act 2, a new character named Killjoy, new deathmatch modes, things like that. But also Shroud has teased a super cryptic.
Okay, so now we're not really, because this is the Koji Nadeshot show, so they go over so many different topics. But I wanted to look at what they were saying, because I saw it in an article about the fact that Muselk was talking about Warzone and Fortnite and stuff like that. It is a really interesting debate. I would love to hear your take. What do you think about Warzone, and what do you think about Fortnite? Which one do you play more? I think most people really are sort of in one camp or the other, it seems, and I might be really wrong there because I don't actually have the data on that. So by all means, if anyone does have the data on that, feel free. But I do believe that the people who play Warzone are less likely to play Fortnite and vice versa. But I think also what Jack's saying about bringing in cars, and it's a really weird state because Fortnite is meant, well, I don't want to say Fortnite's meant to be anything, but Fortnite has got its casual player base. So they've got these cars in and they're trying these different things out. It's just it's a difficult equation. It's a difficult equation to get right, basically, because on one hand, you want the esports scene to flourish, you want the viewership to flourish. When the World Cup was happening, that was one of the biggest, I'm going to make a whole video on that at some point. The World Cup was one of Epic's most 200,000 IQ plays, and I'll explain why in terms of marketing. They had $100 million in marketing for something I'll explain later, maybe. But I don't think I've ever seen a game company actually pull off something as smart as they did with that year, basically, of 2019. So now, like I say, basically it's the battle between how do we please the casuals, how do we please the pros. Skill-based matchmaking is a thing and all this other stuff. But that being said, I'd love to hear your take on this. That being said, if you want to see everything that I'm looking at when it comes to gaming and esports and industry gaming stuff, reacting to some highlights, different stuff, basically, if you want to be around, hit that subscribe button, keep notifications on, because I post every single day, multiple times a day, everything going on in gaming. That being said, have a great day, everyone. I'll see you in the next video, basically.
I'm not good for shopping.